اه لسه yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna start, and everybody should be quiet.
Okay.
I don't have a picture here.
It's okay, we'll come. I will show up.
So,
Yeah, it's okay. It will take a few minutes and then.
So tell us when it's started. I don't. Okay. I think we're up. It'll take some minutes to go online. So we have to.
No, now you're online. I mean, people are watching you.
Okay. So I'm not sure because I cannot see it here on my device. So if you're here, I welcome you guys to our today's live session. Today's live session is about adjective clause, and we all here with a team of 6 people doing this job. And you know that Mr. Rahimi will be the instructor, the one who will explain this nice grammar and important, of course. And at the end of the live session, you will be allowed to ask questions. And actually, you can ask questions during the live session, but at the end, we will sit together and answer. Of course, Rahimi sir will answer your questions. So here, Mr. Ahmad Qasimi, standing here besides me, and like 4 people, Mr. Azim Jan, and Imal and Hajizada Saib, and they are also working in the background as a technical team. And Qasimi sir, if you have any message.
Thank you. And we are waiting for the people who are watching us and waiting for their questions to ask.
Yeah, excellent. So the live session will last at least for 1 hour, and
2 or 3 hours.
maybe we'll continue, of course, for 2 hours. And during the live, you can ask questions only related to adjective clause. Actually, if you ask questions regarding to the other types or any other grammar, we will of course note it down, jot it down, and later we'll record the video, and we'll answer the questions for you as a video. And today you can ask questions related to adjective. Any problem you have or any difficulties you have related to this grammar, we are at your service, and Rahimi sir will answer the questions. So if you're watching this video right now, this live session, I want you to share it with your friends so they also watch this video and they learn things from this video, and they also can solve their problems using the information that Rahimi sir will present. So, Qasimi sir, I think we should go in the background. Rahimi sir will come on the stage, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to present Mr. Rahimi, our great teacher, who's going to explain this important grammar for us, Mr. Rahimi sir. So,
Hello everyone and welcome to the Practical English Brand. So our topic is adjective class, and I encourage you to ask as many questions as possible related to this topic. Keep in mind, if I find out that your questions are very important, I'll be definitely recording special videos and mentioning your name at the beginning of that video. So, first of all, I'm gonna give you this presentation. I'm gonna explain the adjective class and all related points to adjective class. And then we will come to the questions and answer sections and and I'll be trying to answer your questions related to this topic. So let's begin with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I thought it was your responsibility or his guy. So first of all, before I explain adjective class, I would like to explain what a clause is in English grammar. Look, a clause is a group of words which has a subject and main verb, but sometimes it gives a complete meaning, sometimes it does not give a complete meaning. If it is a dependent or subordinate clause, it does not give a complete meaning. If it's independent or main clause, it gives a complete meaning. So now, independent clause could be also called principal class or main class, and the dependent class could be also called subordinate class. And now let's go to the next slide and see what's going on. So now the differences between dependent and independent classes is very important to know. How can you recognize the differences between dependent and independent classes? Look at this example. I will buy some books if I have extra money. Now, if we stop the first class and we put a dot over here, it gives a complete meaning. Keep in mind that the independent class or the main class always starts with the subject. But the dependent or subordinate class starts with a conjunction. It does not start with the subject, okay? However, somebody may say that I can bring a kind of time expression, a verb of time or a verb of place at the beginning. Sometimes it's possible, but there should be a comma. For example, tomorrow, before subject, comma, I will buy some books. But the main point is that, could I have the other one? Yeah, for now. It's okay for now. Yeah, later on I'll give it to you. So, I was saying that as soon as you see that a class starts with a subject, you should know it is independent or main class. And when you see that a class starts with the conjunction, like here you see the conjunction if, you should know it is a dependent or a subordinate class. So now, a dependent or subordinate class can't stand alone as a simple sentence. For example, if we say, if I have extra money, I mean, it does not give a complete meaning. Why? Because it is a dependent class. It is not a main or independent class. And the reason we say it's main class because it is important class in this sentence. Now, the combination of these two classes is called complex sentence. It is a complex sentence. When we combine two classes, dependent and independent class, together, it's called complex sentence. And it's possible to change the positions of these two classes. If I have extra money, I will buy some books, but in that case, you need a comma in the middle of your sentence. So this is how you can differentiate dependent and independent classes. Now let's go to the next slide. When it comes to independent class, there are forms. I mean, negative, interrogative, affirmative, WH information, questions, tag questions, there are different forms. But we don't have any types of independent or main classes. When it comes to dependent class or subordinate class, there are three types of dependent or subordinate classes. There's noun class, there's adjective class, and there's adverb class. Our today's topic is adjective class. And in the future, inshallah, we will have noun class and then adverb class, and then there could be some other big topics as well. But today, if you would like to ask your questions should be related to adjective class. And once again, I want to mention that those who asked some questions during the previous live program, I chose some of them, some of the questions were very important. Actually, they asked the questions about very important points. So I just recorded two videos. I recorded one video related to Mr. Safai's question. I explained durative and non-durative verbs. And I recorded another video related to Mr. Rashad's question regarding, the verb mood, the types of verb mood. So now, keep in mind that after I'm done with the explanation, after I'm done with this presentation, which will cover each and everything related to adjective class, inshallah, I'll be answering all of your questions. Now, again, your questions should be related to the topic. In case I find out that your question is very important, I'll be definitely recording special videos regarding your questions, inshallah. So now let's move to the next slide. Okay, what is an adjective class? Look at the first example. The man who teaches English is my friend. An adjective class is a group of words which has a subject. The relative pronoun who here functions as a subject. In a main verb, teaches. The verb teaches here functions as the main verb of this adjective class. It modifies a noun or pronoun in its main class. This is the standard definition of adjective class. It is a group of words which is a subject and main verb and is used to modify or give some sort of extra or important information about a noun or pronoun in its main class. So now look, if the adjective class modifies the subject of the main class, it comes in the middle of the main class. Like here, the man is my friend. This is your main class. The adjective class comes, between the subject and the verb form in the rest of the main class. It comes in the middle of the main class. But if the adjective class modifies or it gives some sort of extra or essential information about noun or pronoun in its main class, and it modifies the object of the main class, then it does not come in the middle. As you see over here in the second example, it comes after main class. Like look, he met Rashid Khan, who is a famous man in Afghanistan nowadays, from Shinwar district, Nangarhar province, a very, very famous cricket player. So he met Rashid Khan, who is a famous man. Now, in this sentence, the adjective class modifies or gives kind of additional or extra information about the noun Rashid Khan. Okay, so therefore it does not come in the middle of the adjective class. It comes after, the main class. So I hope now you know what an adjective class is. Hold on for a minute. When I tell you, then you can go next. Keep in mind that in simple words, adjective is a word or a group of words sometimes which is used to modify a noun or pronoun. Adjective class has exactly the same function, just like an adjective. It functions just like an adjective, okay? But that is a word or phrase. An adjective class is a group of words which is a subject and main verb. It functions just like an adjective, but adjective is taught as a part of the maybe like basic or intermediate grammar. And adjective class is taught as a part of the most advanced grammar. So that's the next difference. Now let's move to the next slide and see that adjective classes are introduced by relative pronouns or relative adverbs, or you can say conjunctive adverbs. So over here, the words that you see over here are called relative pronouns according to grammar, okay? And the words that you see over there are called relative adverbs or relative, you can say conjunctive adverbs, okay? Now, who is used for people in both subjective or objective case, but keep in mind that when we use an objective case, in informal spoken English, sometimes it could be used in objective case. Otherwise, it should be used in subjective case. Who is used in objective case only for people, and which is used for things, ideas, qualities in both subjective or objective case. That, the relative pronoun that, is used for both people and things in both subjective and objective cases. Whose is used in possessive case only for both people and things. And the relative adverbs where, when, and why are used in objective case only, not in subjective case. Where is used when the adjective class modifies or gives some kind of extra or essential information about a place. When is used in adjective class when the adjective class gives some sort of extra or essential information about a time. And why is used when the adjective class is modifying a reason in its main class. So I hope this idea is clear. Keep in mind that these words introduce adjective clauses. And now let's go to the next slide. Now, the cases of relative pronouns. On this slide, I'll be explaining the three cases of relative pronouns in adjective clauses, like, how the relative pronouns function inside adjective clauses. So there is subjective case, there is objective case, and there is possessive case. These three cases will be explained one by one, in examples. So now let's go to the next slide and see the first subjective case. Subjective case. Look at the example. The girl who speaks good English is my student. The girl who speaks good English is my student. We say it is subjective case. I mean, the relative pronoun here functions as a subject. It functions in a subjective case. Look, when the relative pronoun is followed by a verb form, like in this example, it is called subjective case, which means the relative pronoun functions as a subject in this adjective class because it is followed by verb speak. And now look at the second example. India, which is located in Asia, has a lot of population. India, which is located in Asia, has a lot of population. Again, the relative pronoun which is followed by the verb is, and therefore it is called subjective case. In other words, the relative pronouns who and which in these adjective clauses function as the subjects of these adjective clauses. So I hope this concept is also clear. Okay, now we're going to move to the next slide. Objective case. When the relative pronoun functions as an object in adjective clauses, it is followed by a subject. It is not followed by a verb form. Look at these two examples. The man whom we love is Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The man whom we love, see the adjective clause is underlined. Whom we love, this is the adjective clause. And the man is Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that's your man clause. As I already explained on the second or third slide, I think, when the adjective clause modifies the subject of the main verb, it comes in the middle of the main verb. I mean the main clause, sorry. Okay, so whom we love. Now, the relative pronoun whom is followed by subject we, and therefore we say it is objective case because the relative pronoun whom here functions as the object of the main verb love. So, but the difference is that commonly you have learned that when we make just simple sentences, first we have a subject, then verb, then object. But here it's kind of different. In adjective clause, I mean the object comes first, and then the subject, and then the verb. The verb goes to the end. I mean the object does not come after verb. It comes at the beginning of the clause. And look at the second example. The place which or that he likes in Delhi is Rajesh Chowk. The place which or that he likes in New Delhi is Rajesh Chowk. So again, I mean, as I said, the relative pronoun that could be used for both people and things. So, but I mean, when we go to restrictive and non-restrictive adjective clauses, I'm going to explain that in some cases we cannot use that, the relative pronoun that, and that will be explained inshallah. So the place which he likes in New Delhi. Look, I mean the relative pronoun which or that is followed by object. Sorry, it's followed by subject. So therefore it functions as the object of the main verb likes. Okay, so which he likes or that he likes. Now, the relative pronoun which or that here in this adjective clause functions as the object, he is the subject, and the main verb is like. Okay, so therefore we say it is objective case because the relative pronoun functions as the object of the main verb when it functions in objective case. So now let's move to the possessive case. The third case of relative pronouns is possessive case. In possessive case, we use only the relative pronoun whose for both people and things. And the relative pronoun whose usually comes between two nouns in order to show either a relationship or ownership between those two nouns. Sort of relationship, or sort of, I will explain that in examples. But keep in mind that we use the word whose, the relative pronoun whose, for both people and things. And at the end of this presentation, I've also explained that sometimes it is replaceable. I mean, we can replace the word whose, and whenever that, slide comes, I'm going to explain it there, inshallah. You will see. But now look at these examples. Look. The man whose wife is from Lebanon is our president. The man whose wife is from Lebanon is our president. Now, the adjective clause is underlined here. If you pay close attention over here, the relative pronoun whose comes between two nouns, the man and wife. And it shows relationship between these two nouns. Look at the second example. The lady whose car is very expensive is our neighbor. The lady whose car is very expensive is our neighbor. Again, the relative pronoun comes between two nouns, lady and car. And it shows a kind of ownership. It shows the ownership of the car to the lady. So, possessive case. And the last example says, the cities whose people are lucky are Mecca and Medina. The cities whose people are lucky are Mecca and Medina. Why? Because our beloved Prophet used to live, in those cities. So now, the point is here. Look, the relative pronoun whose is used, again, between two nouns, cities and people, to show some sort of relationship between these two nouns. So I hope this concept is clear now. And now we're going to move to the next slide. On the next slide, I'll be explaining the types of adjective clause. When you do research on Google, you will definitely see that most grammarians say that there are only two types of adjective clauses, restrictive and non-restrictive. There are other terms as well. You can call them restrictive, defining, modifying, identifying, or non-restrictive, non-defining, non-modifying, non-identifying. There are different terms, but the terms are restrictive and non-restrictive. So most grammarians on Google say that there are only two types of adjectives, but I brought the third type as well, connective, and I've got some logical reasons behind that. First of all, when I was a student at DLI in San Antonio, Texas, my American teachers taught me the third type of adjective clause as well. On the other hand, there are kind of sentences, I'm going to be bringing examples, that we cannot put them either under restrictive or under non-restrictive adjective clauses. They are different. So therefore, I agree with the grammarians who say that there are three types of adjective clauses, not two types of adjective clauses. Now, inshallah, I will explain each type of these three types of adjective clauses one by one by giving you some very practical and good examples. And I want you to pay close attention because I know, and whether you are an advanced student or an English teacher, you know that when it comes to advanced grammar, it could be one of the most complicated grammatical points. So I want you to please pay close attention. Restrictive or defining adjective clause. Look, it's kind of hard to know the difference between restrictive and non-restrictive adjective clauses. I know it's not easy, but I really hope that after this explanation, you won't have any problems with knowing the differences between restrictive and non-restrictive adjective clauses. How? Look, the easiest way to know the difference between these two types of adjective clauses, remove the adjective clause in your mind from the sentence and read the rest of the sentence. Now, If the meaning of the rest of the sentence is not clear, if the rest of the sentence, I mean the main clause, does not give a clear meaning, you should know that the adjective clause is restrictive or defining adjective clause. And it gives essential or important information about the noun or pronoun that it modifies in its main clause. Like, look at the first example. The boy who or that learns English at Atarot is intelligent. So, now, if we remove the adjective clause and we say the boy is intelligent, the rest of the sentence does not give a clear meaning. Okay, so now we should know that the information in the adjective clause, who learns English at Ataro, is essential. It is important information. The adjective clause has to modify this noun. Without this information in the adjective clause, we don't know exactly which person, thing, or place the speaker is talking about. Okay, so now if it is restrictive or defining adjective clause, number one, you don't need any commas before and after adjective clause. Commas are not required. And instead of who, you can use the relative pronoun that as well. Or instead of which, you can use the relative pronoun that as well. Okay? And commas are not required. And the information in this type of adjective clause is essential or important information about the noun or, pronoun in its main clause. Now I'm going to just read these two examples, then we will move to non-restrictive adjective clause. So the boy who or that learns English at Atar is intelligent. The book which or that she read was interesting. And the girl whose father is a doctor joined Atar yesterday. Now, one more point over here. Case doesn't matter, okay? The case of adjective clause could be subjective case, like in the first example, the relative pronoun is followed by verb, okay, who learns or that learns. Or it could be objective case, like the relative pronoun, and the second example is followed by subject she, so it is objective case. Or it could be possessive case. The relative pronoun here is whose. Case doesn't matter. You can use restrictive or defining adjective clause in all three cases. Okay, but keep in mind that these rules are very important to be followed. You do not need any commas before adjective clause or after adjective clause, or if the adjective clause comes at the end of your sentence. If it comes after the main clause, you do not need the comma before adjective clause. No commas are required, okay, for adjective clause. I'm not talking about using adjective clause inside of, for example, let's say adverb clause, so there you may need a comma. That's a different point. But here you do not need any commas. And the information in the adjective clause is essential about the noun or pronoun that the adjective clause modifies, and you can use the relative pronoun that for both people and things in a restrictive or defining adjective clause. Now we're going to move to the non-restrictive or non-defining is that remove the adjective clause from the sentence in your mind. If the meaning of the rest of the sentence is clear, you should know that the adjective clause in that complex sentence is non-restrictive or non-defining adjective clause. Look, Rashid Khan, who is from Afghanistan, is a famous cricket player. Now, remove the adjective clause and read the rest of the sentence. It should give a clear meaning. For example, Rashid Khan is a famous cricket player. So the meaning of the rest of the sentence is clear. Okay. So now in this case, number one, the adjective clause gives extra or additional information about this noun Rashid Khan because, that's already a specific person. The adjective clause doesn't have to modify it. It barely gives some sort of like extra or additional information about the noun Rashid Khan. If adjective clause is non-restrictive or non-defining, you need commas. Commas are required. Before adjective clause, one comma, after adjective clause, one comma, which means that if the adjective clause comes in the middle of your main clause, you need two commas, one before adjective clause, one after adjective clause. But in the second example, you see the adjective clause modifies the object of the main clause, and it does not come in the middle of the the main clause, it comes after main clause, so therefore one comma is required before adjective clause. And the relative pronoun that cannot be used in a non-restrictive or non-defining adjective clause. So here, we cannot use the relative pronoun that, okay? We cannot say Rashid Khan, that is from Afghanistan. Why? Because it is non-restrictive adjective clause. it somehow restricts the meaning of, the noun or pronoun that it modifies. So, once again, commas are required when we use non-restrictive or non-defining adjective clause. Commas are required, and the relative pronoun that should not be used in non-restrictive or non-defining adjective clauses. One more thing that I want to say, keep in mind that most commonly restrictive adjective clauses are used to modify common nouns. And non-restrictive adjective clauses are used to modify proper nouns. Look, Rashid Khan is a proper noun here, but there are some other cases as well. Okay, so look at the second example. I like Peshawar, which is a beautiful city. Peshawar is also a proper noun. So this is another, sign that you can, know the difference between restrictive and non-restrictive adjective clauses. Okay, most commonly, non-restrictive adjective clauses modify proper nouns. Okay, the name of a person, place, okay, or specific organization or business or something. But restrictive or defining adjective clauses are most commonly modified, common nouns. But that's not always the case. This is just one of the points that you can keep in mind, okay? Now look at this example. My brother who runs a big business is a smart man. Now, brother is not a proper noun, it's a common noun. But keep in mind, whenever there is a possessive adjective, my, your, his, her, their, our, with a common noun like my brother, my friend, my teacher, my student, in that case, again, the adjective clause will be non-restrictive or non-defining adjective clause. Why? Because I've told you this is the easiest way. Now, read the sentence, remove the adjective clause in your mind, and read the rest of the sentence. The meaning of the rest of the sentence should be a clear meaning. My brother is a smart man. So, look. My brother is a smart. If you remove the adjective clause and you read the rest of the sentence, my brother is a smart man, the rest of the sentence gives a clear meaning. Okay? Now, the information in this adjective clause, who runs a big business, running a business, that information about my brother is extra or additional information. So, the extra information should be brought between two commas because the adjective clause is used in the middle of the main clause. So, therefore, we need two commas. And again, the relative pronoun that cannot be used instead of who. And finally, look at the final example. The cell phone which I use is made in China. The cell phone which I use is made in China. Now, here's the point. Here's the trick, actually. Could I have a cell phone? Sometimes, keep in mind, sometimes it really depends on the intention of the speaker. Now, I'm telling you, for example, the cell phone which I use is made in China. Do you know which cell phone I'm talking about? You don't know. Why? Because you don't see the cell phone, okay? So now, if I say the cell phone is made in China, the rest of the sentence does not give a clear meaning, okay? But now, as I said, it depends on the situation. Now, you are standing in front of me and I'm telling you the cell phone which I use is made in China. So now, if I remove the adjective clause and I say to you, the cell phone is made in China, you know which cell phone I'm talking about, okay? So again, the information which I use becomes kind of extra or additional information about. So sometimes it depends on the intention of the speaker. If you see commas before and after adjective clause, you should know that the speaker is talking about something specific. If you do not see commas, there's a common noun, like cell phone is a common noun. In that case, you should know that the speaker is talking about something that is not specific, okay? That is not clear between the speaker and the listener. The listeners don't know what the speaker is talking about. So I hope this concept is clear as well. Once again, quickly, most commonly, non-restrictive adjective clauses modify proper nouns, like Rashid Khan, Kabul, Afghanistan, whatever. And next, like Peshawar over here, you see it's also proper noun. Possessive adjectives, my, you, or his, if they are used with common nouns, again, the adjective clause will be non-restrictive or non-defining adjective clause. Why? Because if you remove the adjective clause and you read the rest of the sentence gives a clear meaning. And finally, it depends on the intention of the speaker. If the speaker is talking about something specific, he or she may use commas, and bring the extra or additional information between two commas. If they do not use commas, you should know that the speaker is talking about something which is not specific. So I hope it's clear. Now we're going to move to connective adjective clause. This is what I was talking about. Again, okay, look, I hate bragging, and this is the reality. This is the truth, okay? What I'm doing now is kind of it's my obligation, okay? I'm responsible for running this business, and it's a kind of part of the, helping our country, helping our people. On the other hand, it's a part of the marketing for the business, and it's it's my job, it's my responsibility, to help the young generation improve their English skills, go abroad, get higher education, come back and serve their country. Okay, but the point is that when I'm saying this, you can right now or later on you can go to YouTube and you can write. You can search for the types of adjective. Most commonly, you will see that there are two types of adjective classes: restrictive and non-restrictive. But I told you before that, first of all, number one, I was taught by my American teachers the third type of adjective class, and second, if you say no, there are only two types of adjective classes. So where do you put, these kind of adjective classes, these kind of sentences? Keep in mind, whenever we use connective adjective clause, the adjective clause doesn't modify any noun or pronoun in its main clause. It does not give any extra or essential information about a noun or pronoun in its main clause. So now, some grammarians say that which is used to modify the whole sentence, one way, with which I don't agree a lot, okay? The next way, the adjective clause, in this case, in connective type of adjective clause, the connective adjective clause is used to modify the action or the state expressed by the main verb of the main clause. According to my point of view, this is the best explanation. Now look at the first example. Look. Many people are killed in our country every day, which is too sad. See, in the previous examples, the adjective clause was modifying a noun or pronoun. Okay, the man, the girl, the boy, Rashid Khan, Peshawar, okay? But here, the adjective clause, which is too sad, does not modify any noun or pronoun over here. Which is too sad. What is too sad? The idea that many people are killed in our country every day. Okay, so here is an action of killing. Here is either, if you have a state verb, so there's a state. If you have an action or dynamic verb, so there's an action. So now, are killed, the form is passive form. Class talks about the action of killing people, about the idea that many people are killed in our country. It does not modify the noun country. It does not modify the noun people. Okay, it modifies the action that is expressed by the verb kill over here. Look at the second example. The government announced lockdown, which wasn't a good idea. The government announced lockdown, which wasn't a good idea. So the reason I'm saying, I have some logical reasons behind that. This is just an example, but a lot of people disagree with this kind of lockdown, that the whole city is open and only educational centers and schools are off. So it doesn't make sense. If it's a real lockdown, the whole city should be just closed. And everything is going on. All the businesses are open. So therefore, I say, it wasn't a good idea. So now, no, the government announced lockdown, which wasn't a good. What wasn't a good idea? What do you think? Does the adjective clause modify any noun or pronoun here? Does it modify government? No. Does it modify lockdown? No. Okay. So what does it modify? Which wasn't a good. What wasn't a good idea? The idea that the government announced lockdown. Okay, so now the verb, here, announce, the adjective clause is modifying the state of this verb. And finally, some idiots call all Muslims terrorists, which makes me angry. Some idiots call all Muslims terrorists, which makes me angry. Now, which makes me angry is your connective adjective clause. That is the connective adjective clause. And it does not modify or does not give any sort of essential or extra information about any nouns or pronoun in its main clause. Some It is called Al-Muslim terrorist. This is the main class. It does not give any sort of information about any noun over here. But instead, which makes me angry. What makes me angry? The idea that some idiots call all Muslims, terrorists. So now, I mean, it modifies the verb over here, okay? The verb, whatever the state or the action that exists in that verb, or that is expressed by this verb. The adjective clause is modifying that, okay? So, this is why we call it connective adjective clause, okay? It's neither restrictive nor non-restrictive. So that was the third type of adjective clause. And now let me drink a little water. How's it going? Everything is going in a normal way?
Everything is
Okay, cool. Are there a lot of questions? Because I haven't seen anything so far.
there are some questions. There are some questions.
Okay, there are some questions, okay. So once again, I want to mention that as soon as we're done with the topic, explaining the topic, inshallah, we will be answering all of your questions. But keep in mind that your questions should be related to the topic, okay? If your questions are about other, grammatical points, just keep them with yourselves. I told you, like, we can decide based on your suggestion what topic to choose for our programs, okay? So, for example, if your questions are related to verb class, keep in mind that we will have a live program about all 7 types of adverb clauses as well in the future, inshallah. We will have a live program about noun clause as well. We will have, our live program about, writing paragraph, writing academic essays, about different topics in the future, inshallah. Okay, so would you please move to the next topic?
Yes.
I asked him, sorry. I hope, it's okay, I'm going to make it later. Okay, so now the omission of relative pronouns. Is it possible to omit the relative pronouns in adjective clauses? Yes, it's possible, especially in spoken English. Native speakers want to be as comfortable as possible. That's why they use a lot of contractions, reductions, omissions, and linking, okay? So, omission is possible in objective case only. Don't forget this. I've already explained the 3 cases of relative pronouns in adjective clauses. So if the relative pronoun is used in objective case, then the omission is possible. Point number one. Point number 2, omission is possible in a restrictive or defining adjective clause. Look, if your adjective clause is non-restrictive or non-defining, then omission is not possible. If the case of the relative pronoun is subjective case or possessive case, again, omission is not possible. You cannot omit or delete the relative pronoun. But, number 1, if the case of the relative pronoun is objective case, number 2, if, the relative pronoun, the type of the adjective clause is restrictive or defining, if it's a restrictive adjective clause, then omission is possible. Now look at these examples. Number 1, the teacher whom or that I admire a lot is Mr. Adam. The teacher whom or that I admire a lot is Mr. Adam. Number 1, it is objective case. Why? Because the relative pronoun whom or that is followed by I. Number 2, it is a restrictive or defining adjective clause. Why? Because the adjective clause modifies the common noun teacher. You don't see any commas before and after adjective clause. And if you remove the adjective clause from this sentence, the rest of the sentence gives a clear meaning. The teacher, the teacher is Mr. Adam. Okay, the teacher is Mr. Adam. So it means that I'm talking about a specific, person. Okay. So whom or that I admire a lot. Now the adjective clause gives some sort of sorry, I was kind of confused here, no? If you remove the adjective clause, you say the teacher is Mr. Adam. There are a lot of teachers, and the teacher is Mr. Adam. It does not give a clear meaning. So now the adjective clause gives essential formation. Which teacher? The one whom I admire. Okay, a lot. So that's why you can use the relative pronoun that as well instead of whom. That's also possible. And in this case, omission is also possible. You can say the teacher I admire a lot is Mr. Adam. The teacher without mentioning the relative pronoun, without saying whom or that. So that's possible. So I hope you got this point. Now look at the second example. The country that we love is Afghanistan. The country which we love is Afghanistan. Number one. I mean, it is objective case because the relative pronoun is followed by a subject we. And number two, it is a restrictive adjective clause. If you remove the adjective clause, the rest of the sentence does not give a very clear meaning. The country is Afghanistan. The country is Afghanistan. I mean, there isn't like a very clear meaning. Okay, so I mean, it gives essential or important information about this noun country. The information, the adjective clause is essential. Okay, so now we can use that, the relative pronoun that, instead of which, and we can omit the relative pronoun. Most commonly spoken English, we can say the country we love is Afghanistan. So omission is possible, number one, in objective case, number two, in a restrictive or defining adjective clause. Don't forget these 2 points, very important, okay? So, you can make a lot of examples. For example, you can say, yeah, the grammatical point I teach you today is very important. See, I don't say which I teach you today or that I teach you today. I'm not using the relative pronoun, okay? Or for example, the man I met yesterday was very intelligent. See, I don't say the man whom I met or that I met. Why? Because omission is possible. I'm using my adjective clause, I mean the relative pronoun in adjective case, number one. Number two is restrictive adjective clause. My adjective clause is modifying a common noun or a proper noun. So, because of these reasons, omission is possible, I hope. Now it's clear. If it's still not clear, feel free to ask your questions, okay? If you have come later, for example, or if you haven't understood, I mean, the explanation of a point, clearly, feel free to write your questions in the comment section. Right? And I'll be glad to try to answer your questions. And I want to say this, inshallah, more than 95% of the times, your questions will be answered on the spot. Okay, the answers to your questions will be given, inshallah, on the spot, right here. But again, no one is perfect. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is perfect as human being. If I'm kind of like, dizzy or something, and it's a kind of technical question, whatever. So I'm gonna be writing down a question, and I'll be definitely bringing you the answer during our next live program. Or if I find out that your question is very important, I'll be even recording a video. Once again, I want to mention this. At the beginning of the video, I'll be mentioning your name, that I'm recording this video based on the question or suggestion of Mr. Ahmad Mahmoud, okay? I said earlier, I want to mention that again, I just recorded 2 videos from the previous live program. 2 questions were asked by 2 of our followers, Mr. Safi and Mr. Rashad. I mean, Mr. Safi is the general manager of Fatarud as well, and he asked his question about derivative and non-derivative verbs, and I recorded a complete video, okay? And Mr. Rashad, the ex-manager of one of our branches, I mean, is also a very good English teacher, and he asked a question about the types of verb mood, and I recorded a video. So if I find out that your question is about something very important, I'll be definitely recording videos related to your question as well. So don't forget that. Let's move to the next topic now. After omission, the reduction of adjective clauses. The reduction of adjective clauses is possible in subjective case only. Don't forget this. The reduction of adjective clauses to modifying phrases is possible in subjective case only, not in objective case, not in possessive case. I hope I'm right, and inshallah I'm right. Okay, now look. The adjective clauses are in red color, and the main clauses are in black color. Okay, so look at the first example. Those who are watching our live program should ask their questions. Okay, so the example says, those who are watching our live program should ask the questions. Now, look, who are watching our live program is a class. Why? Because a class is a group of words which is a subject, who, and the main verb form, watching, okay, with the helping verb, I mean, to be over here. And now, if it is dependent clause, it does not give a complete meaning. If it's independent clause, it gives a complete meaning, okay? So now, adjective clause is a dependent clause. It does not give a complete meaning if it's alone. It cannot stand as a, simple sentence, okay? As a complete sentence. So now, a clause is a group of words which must have the pair of subject and verb. Don't forget this, Okay, a sentence is also a group of words which has the pair of subject and verb, but a sentence always gives a complete meaning. A class, if it's dependent, it does not give a complete meaning. If it's independent, it gives a complete meaning. So now the point is here, what you can do, I mean, if it's one of the three continuous tenses, present continuous, past continuous, or future continuous. Look, remove the relative pronoun and remove the to be verb form, whether it's SMR or was were or will be or be going to be. Remove the to be verb forms and the relative pronoun and leave the rest of the class, and it will turn into a modifying phrase. Look at the second example. Those watching our live program should ask their questions. Look, watching our live program is not a class. Why? Because it doesn't have the subject, the pair of subject and verb. Okay? So it's a phrase. What kind of phrase? Modifying phrase. It still modifies the pronoun those, the indefinite pronoun those, okay? But that was a class because subject, who, and main verb form because the helping verb to be and then watching. But here, watching our live program, it becomes just a modifying phrase. If there is no the pair of subject and verb, it becomes a phrase. It's not a class anymore. And look at the second example. The man who works with Azizi Bank is one of my best friends. It's subjective case. So if your tense in your adjective class is one of the three simple tenses, simple present, simple past, or simple future, what you can do, just remove the relative pronoun who, which, that, whatever the relative pronoun is, remove it and change the verb to ing form. And if there's a helping, if it's a simple future tense, for example, you have the helping verb will or be going to, for example, or shall, then get rid of the helping verb as well and change the main verb to ing form. Look at, the fourth example for you. The man working with Azizi Bank is one of my best friends. Now, working with Azizi Bank, it's not a class anymore. It's a modifying phrase. It still modifies the noun man in its main class, but it's not a class anymore. Why? Because it doesn't have the pair of subject and verb. Okay? So the reason we call the first one a class because there's relative pronoun which functions as the subject of the main verb word. Okay? And here we do not have any subject and verb, the pair of subject and verb. Therefore, we say it's modifying phrase. So reduction, is the noun form, reduce is the verb form. To reduce something means to make something shorter, okay? So now we're trying to make our adjective clauses shorter. We're trying to turn them into phrases, okay? So this is the way. Keep in mind, in three present continuous, past continuous, and future, in three continuous tenses, remove the relative pronoun, remove the to be verb, and leave the verb ing, and the rest of, the class, it becomes a modifying phrase. If you have one of the three simple tenses, simple present, simple past, or simple future, so then remove the relative pronoun and change the verb to ing form. That's all. If there's any other helping verb like will or, for example, shall or be going to, remove that as well and leave the verb ing. So again, okay, change the verb form to ing form. Or general form. And keep in mind that present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous, future perfect continuous, or in all perfect tenses and perfect continuous tenses, not very common, okay? So most commonly, reduction is done in the three simple tenses and three continuous tenses. I hope you got the point. Now let's move to the next slide. Some more examples. There's some more examples. Look at the first example. Those who need to improve their English should follow our channel. Okay, it's kind of marketing. Possible. When the word those is used as indefinite pronoun, it can be modified by adjective class. And in this case, if you have any stated verbs or stated verbs like need and want and love and like and hope and wish and all of these stated verbs, what you can do, you can omit. You can get rid of the relative pronoun, who, which, that, and then you can change the verb to ing form. So those needing to improve their English should follow our channel. So now, that is a class, adjective class, and this is a modifying phrase, okay? Or adjective phrase, or modifying phrase. So this is how you can turn adjective clauses into modifying phrases. This is how you can reduce adjective clauses to modifying phrases. Look at the next example. The boys who were accused of robbing a store were arrested. The boys who were accused of robbing a store were arrested. So in this case, what you do over here, remove who and remove the to be verb, okay? And leave the rest of the clause and it becomes a modifying phrase. So the boys accused of robbing a store were arrested. It's not a clause anymore because it doesn't have the pair of subject and main verb. But it is a clause because there's the pair of subject and main verb, who, and then main verb. So this is how we can reduce adjective clauses to modifying phrases. I hope the concept is clear now. And now let's move to the next slide. Okay, so using relative adverbs in adjective clauses or relative pronouns in adjective clauses. Is everything okay?
Yes.
Okay. So how can we use the relative adverbs or relative pronouns where, why, and when in adjective clauses? Keep in mind that whenever we use these relative adverbs in adjective clauses, number one, they should be used in objective case. Okay, they cannot be used in subjective case. Okay, restrictive, the type doesn't matter. It could be restrictive, it could be non-restrictive. But keep in mind that they should be used in objective case. They cannot be used in subjective case. And according to grammar, they could be called relative adverbs, or you may also call them conjunctive adverbs. Relative adverbs or conjunctive adverbs. Since they're adverbs, they don't function as pronouns, therefore, they cannot be used in subjective case. They cannot function as the subjects of the adjective clauses. Look at the first example. India is the country where has a lot of population. What do you think? Why is it wrong? Let me see. I'm asking you. I wanna find someone good at grammar, okay? So if you wanna answer this question, I'll just leave it alone over here. So it has been crossed over here, which means this sentence is not correct. So why it's not correct? What do you think, okay? And later on, I'm gonna answer this, okay? But before I answer the question, I want you to write the answer, okay? Write your answer. What's your idea? Why is it incorrect, okay? But look at the second example. Kabul is the city where his family lives. Kabul is the city where his family lives. Look, it's correct. It's not wrong, it's correct. Why? Because the relative adverb where is followed by his family, which is the subject of the main verb lives. Okay, and it's subjective case, and therefore it's correct. Now, this adjective clause where his family lives is here to modify the city, okay, the place. So when we use where, the adjective clause modifies a place. When we use when, the adjective clause modifies a time. And when we use why, the adjective clause is somehow modifying a reason or is talking about reason. So Kabul is the city where his family lives. The country where she was born is Iraq. The country where she was born is Iraq. Again, where she was born, the adjective clause is modifying the place, the country over here. It's main clause, okay? And again, it's objective case because the relative adverb where is followed by the subject she. And 1919 is the year when our country got freedom. 1919 is the year when our country got freedom. So the reason I've underlined some of the words over here is that these relative adverbs are followed by nouns or pronouns, which are the subjects of the adjective clauses over here in these examples, okay? So like here, when our country got freedom, see, our country is the subject, got is the main verb, and freedom, becomes kind of like object, and now it becomes complement. It does not come at the end because it's just the opposite, like I told you in simple sentences, subject comes first, then verb, then object. But here, object comes first, if it's objective case, and then subject, and then verb. So now here, when does not function as object, but it functions as the complement because it's an adverb, it's not a pronoun. Okay, so now, again, when our country got freedom, the adjective clause is here to modify the time, I mean the year, I mean this time. And poverty is the reason why people hate lockdowns. I think this is true, isn't it? It is, right? So poverty is the reason why people hate lockdowns. Why? Because they face a lot of financial problems. I mean, no one can help them, right? There are a lot of people, if they don't work during the day, they don't have food for the kids, for dinner, okay? So they have to work, right? So therefore, many people hate lockdown. So poverty is the reason why people hate lockdown. So why people hate lockdown, I mean, again, see the relative adverb, why is followed by the noun people, which functions as the subject of the main verb hate, and it's subjective case. And the adjective clause is here to modify the reason, poverty, okay? Or, poverty is the reason, so it's modifying the reason over here. So I hope that now you can use relative adverbs or conjunctive adverbs correctly in your adjective clauses. And I want to say once again, whenever we use relative pronouns or relative adverbs, they can be used in objective case only and not in possessive case. And if you're an English teacher, in case your students ask you that how it functions in the adjective clause, does it function as a pronoun or what? As a conjunction, what? So you should say, since it's a conjunctive adverb, it's got like kind of double functions, it somehow like combines the adjective clause with main clause. On the other hand, it functions as the complement, somehow as the complement of the subject or as the complement of the verb in our adjective clause. So I hope the concept is clear. So now let's move to the next slide. Okay. Let me ask, do we have like a few, like 5, 6, 7 people there?
Yeah, we have 3 people.
Okay, so yeah, fine. Because grammar is boring. I know grammar is boring.
And
Plus, there is no electricity in Kansas,
Sure.
right?
there was later for sure.
But anyways, yeah, when we go to questions and answers, hopefully people may just come back. Okay. Anyways, like our last live program, okay, look, now, if you go there, like 400 views, 400 people have followed it. Later on, there will be a lot of, people coming and watching, the video. Anyways, yeah, they will definitely get advantage of this lesson. So, look, using prepositions in adjective clause, Can we use prepositions in adjective clause? Yes. Look at the first example. San Antonio is the city in which I used to live. If you use the adjective clause at the beginning, the preposition at the beginning of your adjective clause, it is more formal. It becomes more formal, okay? But if you use it at the end of the adjective clause, it becomes informal. The second example says, San Antonio is the city which I used to live in. If you use the preposition at the end of your adjective clause, informal. If you use it at the beginning, it's formal. And keep in mind that if you change which to that, the relative pronoun that, in that case, you can only use the preposition at the end, not at the beginning of the adjective clause. For example, you cannot say San Antonio is the city in that I used to live. You can say San Antonio is the city that I used to live in. Preposition can be only used at the end of the adjective clause if the relative pronoun is that, not which, okay? And omission is also possible. You can say San Antonio is the city I used to live in. That's also possible. Why? Because first of all, it is objective case, and second, it is a restricted adjective clause. So they are the students to whom I teach English. They are the students to whom I teach English. Look. If the preposition is used at the beginning, so number one, and then your adjective clause is modifying like a person, not a place or thing. In that case, whom should be used, not who. Okay, not that. Okay, only whom should be used, the relative pronoun. But if the preposition is used at the end of the adjective clause, in that case, whom, which will be somehow like more formal. In spoken English, you may hear some native speakers saying who. and that and omission is also possible. For example, here you say, they are the students to whom I teach English, which is more formal, but here you can say, they are the students whom I teach English to, or they are the students who I teach English to in spoken English, that's also okay. Or they are the students that I teach English to. Or finally, omission is also possible. They're the students I teach English to. So that's also possible. Okay, so yeah, prepositions at the beginning of the adjective class, formal, at the end of the adjective class, informal. I hope you got the point. Now let's move to the next topic. Okay, so using expressions of quantity in adjective clauses. In English language, we have some, phrases which are called expressions of quantity, like some of, a lot of, many of, most of, neither of, either of, both of, three of, four of, five of, a great deal of. These are all expressions of quantity. So now, whenever we use expressions of quantity in adjective clauses, we need a comma before adjective clause. Don't forget, this is the only rule, okay? We need a comma before, we start the adjective clause. Look here, I saw a group of men, comma, some of whom looked very excited. Some of whom looked very excited. So, some of whom is the, some of is the expression of quantity. And look at the second example. The meat, all of which they cooked, wasn't fresh enough. The meat, all of which they cooked, wasn't fresh enough. So again, a comma should be used before this type of adjective clause. And finally, he is the teacher, most of whose students can speak English. There's one more point. The reason I've used different colors is that we can use expressions of quantity in all cases. Okay, there could be subjective case, there could be objective case, there could be possessive case. Like in the first example, okay, I saw a group of men, some of whom looked very excited, so subjective case. In the second, the meat, all of which they cooked, wasn't fresh enough, objective case, because which is followed by they, subject. And he's the teacher, most of whose students can speak English. Now it is possessive case, because there's the relative pronoun whose in it, so case doesn't matter in this case. It could be subjective case, it could be objective case, it could be possessive case. Case doesn't matter, okay? And you can use expressions of quantity right before your relative pronoun in your adjective clauses, and keep in mind that there should be a comma before, you start, before you write your expression of quantity and you start your adjective clause. I hope it's clear now. Okay, now let's move to the next slide. Okay, replacing whose with noun plus of whom or of which. Sorry for this, it should be whom. My mistake. Should be whom. Of whom or of which, not of who. Spoken English, yeah. But in formal written English, it should be whom because there's a preposition. Whenever a preposition comes before a relative pronoun, it should be whom. Not who. So we can replace the relative pronoun whose with noun plus of which or noun plus of whom. So well, it depends. If the adjective clause gives information about a person, noun plus of whom. If the adjective clause gives information about a place or thing, okay, then noun plus of which. And it will be more formal as well, because look, we use whose for both people and things. But if we remove whose and we use noun plus of which, it will be more formal. Look at the first example. He is the leader whose followers are intelligent people. He's the leader whose followers are intelligent people. So now here, in the second example, he is the leader, followers of whom are intelligent people. The relative pronoun whose is replaced with of whom, okay? Because the adjective clause modifies a person, leader, therefore of whom, not of which, okay? And it's pretty easy. Just remove whose and bring the following noun, okay, right after you finish mention the subject of the main clause, and then mention of who if the adjective clause modifying a person, or mention of which if the adjective clause modifying a thing or place. Look at the second example. Egypt is the country whose people are very beautiful. Egypt is the country whose people are very beautiful. So now here, the adjective clause modifying a place, country, therefore we need of which, not of whom. So now we have replaced, the relative pronoun whose with, noun plus of which, people noun plus of which. So Egypt is the country, people of which are very beautiful. And according to my point of view, now the second sentence sounds more formal compared to the first sentence, because we use, whose for country, which is not very formal, but in spoken English it's okay. Now let's move to the next slide. Okay, using adjective clauses to modify personal pronouns. In English language, among native speakers, it's not very common to use personal pronouns I, we, you, he, she, it, they in order to be modified by adjective clauses. Among native speakers, it's not very common, but there's one exceptional case, and I've explained the exceptional case as well. So look at the first example. I, who am an English teacher, am from Afghanistan. What do you think? Does it sound good? It doesn't sound good. Among native speakers, it's not common to use adjective clauses in order to modify personal pronouns. Like here, in the adjective clause modifies I, and it doesn't sound good, so it's not very common. Or look at the second example. She who is an intelligent girl is my student. Does it sound good? No, it doesn't sound good, okay? So maybe, among Pakistanis or Indians, it would be common, they may use these kind of sentences, but native speakers do not use such sentences. Most grammarians say that it's not a good idea to use, personal pronouns and our main clauses in order to be modified by adjective clauses. But there's an exceptional case. Look at this example. He who wants to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala must obey the Prophet, peace be upon him. Exceptionally, the personal pronoun he can be used to be modified by an adjective clause. And in this case, he doesn't mean a man or a boy. It doesn't refer to just one gender. It includes both genders, okay? So in other words, in simple words, he means anybody, okay? So when we say he who wants to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, anybody who wants to love subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's the meaning, okay? Must obey the Prophet, peace be upon him. Okay, and the second example says, he who studies hard and practices a lot will improve their English. Look, I've used the, possessive adjective there, not his, not her. Why? Because in this case, exceptionally, the personal pronoun he includes both genders. Okay, it is not used only for male gender, but it's used for both male and female genders. Okay, so in other words, again, in simple words, he in this case means anyone or anybody. So anybody who studies hard and practices a lot will improve their English. I hope it's clear. Now let's move to the next slide. And on the next slide, I'll be explaining the idea that indefinite pronouns could be modified by adjective clauses all the time, no problems, okay? Very common among native speakers. So the indefinite pronouns, someone, somebody, something, somewhere, like anybody, anywhere, anything, and everybody, everywhere, everything, and everyone, okay? Or like nobody, nowhere, nothing, and no one, okay? So these are indefinite pronouns. But you can also use those, the word those as indefinite pronoun, which refers to a group of people, okay? So indefinite pronouns can be used to be modified by adjective clauses, and it's very common among native speakers. Look at the first example. I met someone who got a high score on TOEFL IBT. So someone here is indefinite pronoun, which is modified by adjective clause. Anyone who would like to master English grammar should join us. Anyone who would like to master English grammar should join us, okay? If not now, in the future, because I mean, we got to deal with the situation. This is our country. We still love it. I mean, right now in the capital city of our country, Kabul, we don't have electricity. We're using generator. So that's why I expected many people, like hundreds of students. I mean, even called me and told me that they would come, but because of the lack of electricity, they couldn't make it to come and ask the questions. This is how it is. What can we do? We got to deal with the situation. And now, look at the third example. He bought something which was too expensive, something. And in the last example, nothing which I knew right now is available here. Nothing which I knew right now is available here. Okay, I'm so sorry. I hope I won't sound kind of, okay. I don't know, I mean, kind of idiot. I want to drink, energy because when did we start the class and what time is it now? How long did it take?
8 o'clock, it's 9:20.
Oh, so 1 hour and 20, like 80 minutes?
1 hour and 20 minutes.
1 hour and 20 minutes? A lot of time, right? Continuously teaching a point is not easy, right? That's why I need some energy. Sorry, I can't be just formal till the end of the lab program. I have to drink it, okay. I lost all of my energy. Break time for a few minutes, right?
Yeah.
If you're done with the first topic, we can start.
No, we're almost done with the entire topic, okay? So we can start answering the questions soon, inshallah.
I was saying that we can start better the next topic.
What?
I mean, I was about to say that we can start the new topic later and we can stop the video.
No, it's okay. It's okay. But it's not, because it's not just what's going on right now. Later on, this live video, I mean, the video of this live program stays there forever. Yeah. Okay, it's like a kind of, a big topic. Like we covered like a very big topic. I mean, most of you are teachers and you know that. It takes a few weeks in order to be able to cover the entire topic of adjective class, and we're trying to cover it in a few hours, and then we're trying to answer the related questions as well, okay? So, let's move to the next slide. Using adjective class inside or in adverb class. Is it possible to use adjective class in adverb class? Yes. And keep in mind, it's also possible to use adverb class in adjective class, or to use a noun class in adjective class. But I'm not going to be explaining that now. Whenever I have my general topic in the future, for one of our live programs in the future, inshallah, is the types of sentences. Like when I'm explaining on the 4 types of sentences, the punctuation and the types of the 4 sentences. In that case, I'll be, bringing these kind of examples. So look at the first example. If the man who speaks Arabic comes here, I'd like to meet him. If the man who speaks Arabic comes here, I'd like to meet him. Now, the adjective class in red color comes in the middle of our adverb class of condition. Adverb class of condition. If the man who speaks Arabic comes here, it comes in the middle of adverb class. And then there's the main class, I'd like to meet him. Now look at the second example. When I see someone who is being arrogant, it makes me angry. When I see someone who is being arrogant, it makes me angry. Again, when I see someone who is being arrogant, so the adjective class comes as a part of the adverb class of time. When I see someone, this is adverb class of time, and the adjective class is used as a part of, as a complement of this, adverb class. And then there's the main class, okay? So look at the third example. Because the students who didn't come to the class yesterday had a big problem, the teacher decided not to find them. Again, a long sentence, kind of like a compound complex sentence, because there are 3 clauses in it. But look, because the students who didn't come to the class yesterday had a big problem, altogether it is adverb clause of cause and effect, because it starts with the conjunction because, so it's adverb clause of cause and effect. And the adjective clause is used here in the middle of this adverb clause. So I hope you got the point. We can use adjective clauses as a part of the adverb clauses as well. So that's possible. Now let's move to the next slide. Next slide. Yeah, can we use adjective clauses in noun clauses? Yes, that's also possible. We can put our adjective clause inside a noun clause, or we can use it as a part of a noun clause as possible. Look at the first example. I didn't like what he said about the person who works honestly for the improvement of this country. Look, I didn't like. Now, I subject, didn't like is the verb form. And what comes after that is a noun clause which functions as the object of this main verb, like, didn't like, in negative form. But the adjective clause is also used as a part of this noun clause. What he said about the person who, and obviously who works honestly for the improvement of this country. Now the adjective clause here functions, it is used, as a part of this noun clause, and the noun clause functions as the object of the main verb didn't like. So I hope you got the point. We can use adjective clauses in noun clauses or as part of noun clauses as well. Look at the second example. Whatever he did to convince the one who was complaining about the hiring process was useless. Okay, again, now, whatever he did to convince the one who was complaining about the hiring process was useless. So, whatever he did to convince the one, after the one, you see that is adjective clause. And it is used as a part of the noun clause over here, because altogether up to here it's a noun clause, and the adjective clause is used as a part of this noun clause, and the noun clause functions as the subject of the main verb was. It's too complicated, but I hope somehow you got the point. We can use adjective clauses in noun clauses. We can use adjective clauses in adverb clauses as well. I hope it's clear. Now let's move to the next slide. Yeah, I'm waiting for you. Okay, we're done. Now we can answer your questions, inshallah ta'ala. Pray for me. Pray for me that I'm gonna take a break. So could I have a cell phone? I would also like to see the messages. Is everything going well, Nurse? Could I have a cell phone? So let me have a look at it, and then I'm gonna let you know which question to choose. Okay.
Okay. Thank you everybody for staying with us. I hope you watched the video from the beginning till now. And as I was watching it, I learned lots of points and everything about the adjective clauses. Actually, there were some points mentioned about the differences between them as well. And I'm sure if you have watched the video, most of your questions are solved. So that's why maybe you're not asking questions. But as the Himis had mentioned, here in Kabul, Afghanistan, electricity is not available. So the people who are inside this country or around us, they cannot watch live. Their phones are actually all dead, and the computers and internet connections are all low and down. So I'm sure that this video will remain there forever, so you can watch it later.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that most of, the questions you have will be solved. Because
will be answered, inshallah.
Sure, they will be answered because everything is explained in the video. But still, we are here to answer your questions, so you feel free to ask questions.
Yeah.
We will be reading them one by one, and the Himisa will start answering them.
So you can take the first question from Irfan Nasim.
Mr. Irfan Nasim has asked that why we use comma in non-restrictive clauses, but not in restrictive clauses.
Yeah, it's a good question, Mr. Irfan Nasim. The reason we use commas if our adjective clause is non-restrictive is that a non-restrictive adjective clause gives essential or extra information about a noun or pronoun in its main clause, and therefore the extra information should be brought inside two commas. So the main purpose of using commas here before and after non-restrictive adjective clauses is that it gives us a kind of sign that the information in this adjective clause is extra or additional information, is not important information. If the information is essential, then commas are not used. If the information is extra or additional, then commas are used. In simple words, the extra information or the additional information is brought inside to commas. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
The next question.
Keep it silent. You can keep it silent, sir.
Okay, the next question, English Paul, okay? And before that, no, we should just take the questions one by one.
And Haydari actually has asked this next
Okay.
question, and
Yeah.
he has asked
Yeah.
actually he has written two sentences, and he has asked for the difference between the contrast.
Mhm.
Ahmad, who is sorry to take my time, is a good guy,
Mhm.
and Ahmad is a good guy who is sorry for taking my time. And he has written, and he has asked it.
Yeah, I got it. I got the whole point. Look, my dear brother Anbiya Haydari, your first sentence, Ahmad, comma, who is sorry to take my time, comma, is a good guy. Your first sentence is correct. Your adjective class is modified the proper noun Ahmad, and therefore it is non-restrictive adjective class. If you remove the adjective class from your complex sentence, the rest of the sentence will give a clear meaning, which will be Ahmad is a good guy. So the meaning is clear. So the extra information in the adjective class is brought inside two commas, and that is correct. In the next sentence, Ahmad is a good guy who is sorry for taking my time. Ahmad is a good guy who is sorry for taking my... So comma is not necessary over here, because who is sorry for taking my time, the adjective class modifies the noun guy, which is a common noun, okay? It's not a proper noun, therefore it is restrictive adjective class, and according to my information, you do need to use the comma after guy, okay? I hope that answered the question. Next.
Thank you, sir. And English scholars are glad to see you again.
Glad to see you too.
He's one of the followers. He watches the videos all the time, and every day he goes to live session. Thank you, English Pal, for following us. And Mr.
Anbiya Haydari is asking another question.
Yeah, he's like he is the guy to whom we talked yesterday. So this is the story.
Hold on, no, I mean Anbiya Haydari, could you tell me what the contrast?
It's about the previous question. The previous sentences he has written.
Ah, okay, so fine. Yeah, what is the next question? He's the guy to whom we talked yesterday. So what about it? What's the question?
Yeah, let's talk to a man who teaches English, which is an international language that is spoken in many countries. I want to know your stance about this kind of adjective clause. I mean, the adjective clause which is mentioned above. So what type of adjective clause is that?
Yeah. It's a good question. Let me read it, and I'm gonna answer the question, inshallah. Let's talk to the man who teaches English, which is an international language that is spoken in many countries. My brother, this sentence is compound complex sentence. As soon as you have more than two clauses in a sentence, it is called compound complex. We have simple sentences, we have compound sentences, we have complex sentences, and we have compound complex sentences. Look, when we combine two independent clauses using one of the fan voice conjunctions or one of the paired conjunctions, that's called a compound sentence with, and, but, or, nor, these conjunctions. Or not only, but also, both, and, neither, nor, with these conjunctions. And when we combine one dependent and one independent clause, and then we have three types of dependent clauses, obviously, adjective clause, noun clause, adverb clause. That is called a complex sentence. A complex sentence is the combination of two clauses, one dependent, one independent. As soon as you have more than two clauses, like 3 or 4 clauses, it becomes a compound complex sentence. So a compound complex sentence could be the combination of two complex sentences, which will have 4 clauses. It could be the combination of 2 compound sentences, again compound complex sentence, there will be 4 clauses. Or it could be the combination of a simple sentence. You may combine a simple sentence with a compound sentence, or a simple sentence with a complex sentence. That will be still a compound complex sentence. So now, Once again, I'm gonna read your sentence and I'm gonna explain it. I'm gonna break it down into classes and show you, the explanation. Show you what type of sentence that is. Let's talk to the man. Let's talk to the man. This is your main class in imperative form. Suggestion form. Let's talk to the man who teaches English. This is adjective class. Okay. So together it becomes a complex sentence. Together, let's talk to the man who teaches English. This is your complex sentence because there are two classes. Let's talk to the man, one class who teaches English. And then after that, you have another adjective class, which is an international language. Okay, and then you have another adjective class that is spoken in many countries. So you have four classes, therefore it is a compound complex sentence. I hope you got the point. Actually, you have combined two complex sentences together in order to write one complex sentence. Let's go to the next question.
Actually, Haidari has asked many questions. So there's another question about the case. Actually, he has written that this is the story about which I told you. Isn't oblique case? That question is about this long sentence.
What?
This is the story about which I told you. Isn't oblique case?
Look, this is the story about which I told you. It is objective case. Your relative pronoun here functions as object. Why? Because it is followed by subject I. And you have simply used a preposition. If you use preposition about at the beginning of your adjective class, it becomes formal. If you use it at the end, it becomes informal. That's all. But your adjective class, your relative pronoun functions in objective case. I hope you got the point. Okay.
Okay.
There are other terms like subjective or nominative case. There are other terms for that, but in simple words, it's objective case. As soon as you see that the relative pronoun who, which, that is followed by a subject in your adjective class, that is objective case because the relative pronoun functions as the object of your adjective class. But if the relative pronoun is followed by a verb form, then you should know it is subjective case because the relative pronoun functions as the subject of that verb which comes after it. I hope you got the point.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's clear, and I want you to have a pen with a paper so you can write it down. And I hope it's clear. Thank you, sir. Here, English Paul has asked a question, and or maybe it's not a question. Sorry, sir, my little brother here besides me watching your video and insists on asking this question. He is confused with who and whom and says that they can replace each other confusingly. So I think you have to explain this.
Yeah, hold on. I explained it, but once again, to your little brother. Look, whom is used in objective case only when it functions as the object of the adjective class. For example, the man whom I saw yesterday was very intelligent. The man to whom I talked yesterday was very intelligent, okay? In spoken English, native speakers may use whom even in objective case, okay? It's okay. But in formal academic English, it's not a good idea to use whom, who in objective case. The best idea is to use whom, especially if there is a preposition at the beginning of the adjective class. With whom, from whom, at whom. For example, the man at whom I'm looking right now is very, for example, tall or very short or whatever. So it's not a good idea to say the man at who I'm looking. That's incorrect, okay?
Yeah.
Or for example, the man from whom we learn English is a good teacher, is a bad, whatever, okay? So in this case, it's not a good idea to say the man from who we learn English, okay? From whom we learn English. But if you take the preposition to the end of the adjective class, the man who we learn English from, in spoken English, it's fine. Native speakers don't care that much. They say it this way, okay? The man that we learn English from, the man who we learn English from, the man whom we learn English from is also okay, but it's more formal, okay? And so now, of course, they are used for person, both of them. But who is used in subjective case and whom is used in objective case, okay? Who is usually followed by verb form and whom is followed by a subject. I hope it's clear. But in spoken English, native speakers usually don't care. Even in objective case, instead of whom, they use who, or sometimes that. So I hope it's clear enough.
Yes, sir, thank you. Actually, there's sometimes maybe confusions with people that the native speakers, informal situations, and informally they use some of these grammars.
Yeah.
Makes people confusing. So Harun Iqbalwag has stated his opinion, and then he has asked a question, and he says,
I don't see all of these questions.
So I can see them, that's why I'm here.
Okay.
So
What's his
Iqbalwag
name?
says that,
Harun Iqbalwag. Sure, evening teacher. Yes, go on.
He says that he's following your lessons, and he said that he has learned 50% of his English from your YouTube channels. I'm sure he has,
Good
definitely.
news.
And he has asked the difference between the adjective clauses and noun clauses.
Oh yeah, it's a good question, and please listen carefully to the explanation about the differences between adjective clauses and noun clauses. Keep in mind that adjective clause functions just like an adjective. Now, I'm pretty sure even if you are the student of basic or intermediate level, you have learned what an adjective is. So, adjective is a word or a group of words which is used to modify a noun or pronoun in a sentence. Adjective clause also functions just like an adjective, but the difference is that adjective is a word or a group of words, like he's a hardworking guy. So hardworking is not one word, it's a two-word adjective. Or you can say he's a strong guy, so it's one word, adjective. But adjective clause is a group of words which is a subject and main verb and functions just like an adjective. It modifies a noun or pronoun in its main clause. Okay, like there are two clauses in your complex sentence. There's dependent clause, there's independent clause. So now your dependent clause is adjective clause, which cannot stand alone. It should be used as a part of a complex sentence. Okay. And the job of your dependent clause, your adjective clause, which is a dependent clause, is to modify or give some sort of essential, important, or extra or additional information about a noun or pronoun that comes in its main clause. Okay, so adjective clause functions just like an adjective, but the difference is that adjective is a word or a group of words, it's just a phrase. Adjective clause is a group of words which is a subject and main verb. It's a class, okay? It has the pair of subject and main verb, and it modifies a noun or pronoun in its main class. They function in the same way, but adjective is taught as a part of the intermediate grammar, and adjective clause is taught as a part of the advanced grammar. That's another difference. Noun clause, just like, adjective clause functions on adjective, noun clause functions just like a noun. But the difference is that now noun could be a word or a group of words again. If it's, for example, a compound noun, so it could be a group of words like the World Trade Center, like the three nouns, okay? But still, it functions as a single noun, right? It's just a compound noun. So a noun is a word or a group of words which can function as a subject in a sentence, as an object in a sentence, as an object of preposition in a sentence, or sometimes as a complement of a subject or verb, okay? A noun clause functions exactly in these four ways, just like a noun. A noun clause can be used as the subject of the main verb in a complex sentence, as the object of the main verb in a complex sentence, as the object of preposition, or as a complement of to be verb in a sentence. Okay, exactly in these four ways. But the difference is, noun is a word or a group of words, like in compound nouns, like I said, the World Trade Center, Atal English Language Academy, these are all compound nouns, right? So, but the noun clause is a group of words which has a subject and main verb and functions just like a noun, okay? Again, in simple words. For example, just to give you an example, you can say, Ahmad made me angry. So what is the subject in this sentence? Ahmad made me angry. Ahmad is the subject. And now I'm saying, what Ahmad did yesterday made me angry. What Ahmad did yesterday made me angry. So Ahmad subject did main verb. It's a group of words which is a subject and main verb. And again, it functions as the subject of the main verb made. Ahmad made me angry. What Ahmad did made me angry. In our first sentence, Ahmad, the noun Ahmad functions as the subject of the main verb made. In our second sentence, what Ahmad did yesterday, it's a whole class. There's a subject and there's a verb. There's the pair of subject and verb. And keep in mind that noun clauses start with some signals, with some kind of words like who, whoever, which, whichever, where, wherever, how, however, why. These, even that, even if, the conjunctions. with these kind of words. These words introduce noun clauses, and they function just like nouns in sentences. But again, nouns can be used in any kind of sentences, in simple, compound, complex, or compound complex sentences. But noun clauses are used only in complex sentences. In complex sentences, they can function as the subjects of main verbs, or as the objects of main verbs, or as the objects of prepositions, or as the complement of to-be verbs. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, it's definitely clear, sir. And English Pal has an opinion that the energy drinks make you even more thirsty while teaching.
Yeah, but I'm gonna drink water right now.
Yeah, maybe, because I don't know about the evidence of an energy drink. The water. So he maybe thinks that the water is better.
Yeah.
Anyways, Mr. Marhaban Murati, he has asked that.
So what if you move up your chair a little bit this way?
Like this one?
Okay, so
Uh-huh.
Yeah, our technical assistants were helping us with the positions of our chair. So I think it's better now.
no,
Yeah, like this.
Better.
it's okay.
Like Musalas.
Some
Sure. So he has asked that, oh, maybe Marhaba is not a male or female? Marhaba could be
Muradi,
she.
Marhaba Muradi, I think that's a female.
That's a
Okay,
female
whatever.
for sure, yeah. So she was asked about the comma with the restrictive clauses, that which condition we can use a comma in non-restrictive clauses.
Okay.
I think you.
Yeah. I've already explained this, but still, we should take care of our followers, and I will still answer the question. Look, if your adjective clause is non-restrictive, first of all, you should know that most commonly a non-restrictive adjective clause modifies a proper noun. Okay, Ahmad, Mahmoud, Kabul, Afghanistan, Pakistan, proper noun. And sometimes there could be a possessive adjective with a common noun. If it's not a proper, it could be common nouns like my brother, your brother, his book, my car, my house, okay? Or sometimes it depends on the intention of the speaker. I don't want to make it complicated, but look, if your adjective clause modifies the subject of the main verb, it comes in the middle of the main verb. And in that case, you need two commas. One comma before adjective clause. As soon as you see the relative pronoun, who, which, that, you should use a comma before that relative pronoun. And at the end of the adjective clause, one comma before adjective clause, one comma after adjective clause. But when the adjective clause modifies or gives some sort of information about the object of the main clause, in that case, it is not used in the middle of the adjective clause. It is used after, main clause. Not in the middle of the main clause, but after main clause. In that case, you need one comma before adjective clause, and you do not need another comma after adjective clause. After adjective clause, you just use full stop in order to start your complex sentence. I hope it's clear. Once again, if the adjective clause, non-restrictive adjective clause, is used in the middle of your sentence, in the middle of the main clause, you need one comma before adjective clause, one comma after adjective clause. If it is used at the end of the sentence, if it finishes the sentence, in that case, you need only one comma before adjective clause, and that's all. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Actually, before I came here, my friends were there and they told me, okay, tonight you're going to have the live session. So they gave me a list of questions to ask you here. I think there are no other questions right now there. Maybe if they ask, I will just read it for you. But the question that I have here with me is from one of our friends there, Ajmal Khan. He asked that the difference between that and which. This is really confusing for him. And he wants you to explain this so others can also learn.
Yeah, what's his name?
Ajmal, he's not here in the list.
No, what's his name? Ajmal?
Ajmal, yes.
Mr. Ajmal, if whenever you watch this, I want you to please pay close attention. Look, which is a relative pronoun, and the word that is also a relative pronoun. See, don't think about what you guys teach to basic students, like that, this, these, those, okay? There we call them demonstrative adjectives or demonstrative pronouns. But here it is called relative pronoun. Just like which there, as a part of the intermediate grammar, basic grammar, it's called WH question word or information question word, which, okay? And also who, okay? But here we don't call them information question words or demonstrative adjectives or pronouns. We call them relative pronouns. And relative pronouns introduce adjective clauses, okay? Relative pronouns and relative adverbs introduce our adjective clauses. So the difference between which and that. Look, which is used only for things, ideas, qualities, places in adjective classes. But that can be used for both people and things. Who is used only for people, not for things, who and whom. But that can be used for both people and things. But keep in mind that if your adjective class is non-restrictive, in that case, for people, you can only use who or whom. I mean, who in subjective case and whom in objective case. And for things and places and ideas and qualities, you can use only which. In non-restrictive adjective classes, we cannot use the relative pronoun that. The relative pronoun that can be used in restrictive or defining adjective classes. For example, you say, the boy who came here was very intelligent. You can say, the boy that came here was very intelligent. The adjective class is restrictive or defining adjective class because it modifies a common noun boy, therefore you can use that instead of who. Or for example, the book which I bought yesterday was interesting, the book that I bought yesterday was interesting. In this case, you can use that instead of which. Why? Because it is a restrictive or defining adjective class. I mean, commas are not required. But again, keep in mind that when you have a restrictive, non-restrictive, or non-defining adjective class, I mean, it's not a good idea to use the relative pronoun that. For example, look, Ahmad, who teaches English at a town, is a very intelligent person. In this case, do not say Ahmad that teaches English at a town. It doesn't even sound good, okay? And why? Because the adjective class is non-restrictive. The information in the adjective class is extra or additional information. If you remove the adjective class from your sentence and you say Ahmad is an intelligent person, the meaning of the rest of the sentence is clear. So now this is how. See, in order to know how to use which and that and who and that correctly, you must know the differences between restrictive and non-restrictive adjective classes, and then there won't be any problem. If you know the differences between restrictive and non-restrictive adjective classes, there won't be any confusion, okay, between the usage of that and which. I hope now it's clear, okay? So, again, once again, just in simple words, the relative pronoun that can be used for both people and things, but in restrictive or defining adjective classes, okay? In non-defining or non-restrictive adjective classes, we do not use the relative pronoun that. For people, we use only who and whom, and for things, we only use which. We do not use that. I hope it's clear.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And Marhaba, I think she maybe understood the answer, so she thanks a million. And there I received a message on our Facebook page, and Karimullah said that I have a problem commenting on your channel, so I sent you the question. And he asks identifying and non-identifying.
Yeah.
And why are they called by these names? And what's the reason?
Good question. These are grammatical terms, my brother. What's his name?
Karimullah, yeah.
Mr. Karimullah, please listen carefully. These are grammatical terms. You can say restrictive, you can say identifying, you can say modifying, you can say non-restrictive, non-identifying, non-modifying. These are, different terms. So now the concept here is that when you say identifying, the adjective class has to identify the noun or pronoun in its main class. The information in the adjective class is essential, it's important. Without that information in the adjective class, we don't know which person, place, or thing the speaker is talking about. For example, listen carefully to this example, okay? The man who came here was intelligent. Now, if you remove the adjective class who came here and you say the man was intelligent, we don't know. I mean, the listeners don't know which man the speaker is talking about. So now who came here, this information in the adjective class about the noun man is essential important. So therefore we say it is identifying adjective class. The adjective class has to identify the noun or pronoun in its main class. Otherwise, we don't know which person, place, or thing the speaker is talking about. In non-identifying, listen carefully to this example. Look, Ashraf Ghani, who leads Afghanistan, is an old man, okay? Yeah, he is an old man, and he's Baba, right? So Ashraf Ghani, who leads Afghanistan, is an old man. Now, if you remove the adjective class and you say Ashraf Ghani is an old man, look,
Yes, sir.
The adjective clause doesn't have to identify the noun Ashraf Ghani. The adjective clause doesn't have to modify, so therefore we say non-modifying or non-identifying or non-restrictive. The adjective clause doesn't have to restrict the meaning of that noun. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Actually, we're done with these comments right now, and as we started the live session at 8, so it's getting 10. I think we have like 6 minutes.
It's been almost 2
Yeah,
hours.
almost 2 hours, and we have 6 minutes. So actually, I sitting here learned lots of things, and I'm sure those who
I
are
hope
watching
so.
us
I hope
also definitely learned things. And, so I'm not sure if I can ask questions because
Yeah, but one thing that we experienced
Mhm.
and that we should be careful about in the future, I mean, we should bring, the LCD closer to make sure that the sentences are readable. The words
Actually,
are
I was
readable.
about to do that right now,
Yeah.
but you know.
But it's okay now. I mean, I see over here, if you use a cell phone, the sentences are not visible clearly. And you cannot
Which
see the
sentences?
sentence clearly. So inshallah, in the future, we'll take care of this problem. We're gonna try to bring the LCD closer so that,
We could bring the LCD closer with that cell phone. It has 3 cameras. The first one is a little zoom, and the other one is a little bit.
I mean, we can use different.
that's fine. I mean, we could, somehow fix that one as well.
Anyways, we can take care of that later. Marhaba has written that, sir, if you try to come every night, to live session, it will be great for us. Please try to teach us online during quarantine. So yeah, quarantine is a good reason for those who want to learn online. Yeah. So
Yeah, for now, it needs a lot of energy. It needs a lot of, a lot of time, a lot of energy. For now, once a week, but maybe if the quarantine is extended, inshallah, we'll be coming live maybe twice a week, okay? But for now, once a week is enough, okay? But in the future, inshallah, we'll see.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe twice a week. Yeah.
yeah, sure. Should we take more questions?
Yeah, sure. If there are any questions,
Okay, and Haidari has asked another question.
Okay.
Like Ali, comma, whom I know, comma, is a good guy. So I think this question is the same like the other question he asked. So I know Ali well, who teaches good. Which one is better? And I think there are like 2 questions over and over.
Ali, whom I know, is a good guy. So your first sentence, the adjective clause "whom I know" is non-restrictive because I told you at the beginning. Look, my brother, the easiest way to know and not to be confused, okay, knowing the differences between restrictive and non-restrictive. I know, it's a very, very complicated and confusing point.
Sure.
The best way is to remove the adjective clause in your mind and read the rest of the sentence. If the meaning of the rest of the sentence is clear, it is non-restrictive, okay? The adjective clause is non-restrictive. If the meaning is not clear, it is restrictive. Now look, in your first sentence, Ali, whom I know, is a good guy. Let's remove the adjective clause, whom I know. Ali is a good guy. The meaning of the rest of the sentence is clear, okay? And that is non-restrictive adjective clause, and obviously 2 commas, but keep in mind that the comma should be placed closer to the noun Ali, okay, and then, whom I know, and then another comma, and then, but I know Ali well, who teaches good. It's not. According to my point of view, it's not. Look. Keep in mind that the adjective clause, the relative pronoun in your adjective clause should be placed to the noun that the adjective clause modifies as closer as possible. Okay? So now in this example, I know Ali well who teaches good, whatever, or who teaches well. Who the relative pronoun is far away from the noun Ali. There's another word well between, who the relative pronoun and Ali. So now I know Ali who teaches English well. That would be, correct. But according to my point of view, your second sentence is wrong. It's not correct. It doesn't match the rules of adjective clause. You got the point.
Yeah, okay, I hope you don't get sad because of this. You know, we make mistakes, so...
No, actually, he's asking a question, so therefore I'm saying it's not correct. Why? Because the adjective clause and the relative pronoun should be placed to the noun that the adjective clause modifies as close as possible. Like in your first example, Ali, whom I know. Like the relative pronoun whom is placed near the noun Ali, and the adjective clause modifying the noun Ali. So therefore it's correct. But I know Ali well, who teaches, and there's a comma, so obviously no, it's not okay. You can say I know Ali who teaches well or who teaches English, it's okay, but just remove well, and then it will be fine. It will be non-restrictive adjective clause.
Okay. Thank you, and
And one more thing here, like here, Ali, whom I know, is a good guy. The adjective clause is modifying the subject of the main clause, Ali. Therefore, it comes in the middle of the main clause. But if you say, I know Ali, who teaches well, in that case, the adjective clause is modifying the object of your main clause, I know Ali. And that's why the adjective clause comes at the end of the sentence. I hope it's clear.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And Mr. Ansar Ahmed Zay, he has asked that what relative pronoun is mostly preferred? One to replace a person or persons' names. I mean, he's asking about the names of these people. When it comes to spoken language and relative clauses, I mean, he's asking...
What relative pronoun is mostly preferred? One to replace a person or a person's name. When it comes to spoken language and relative clause, a person or person's name, obviously, look, please pay close attention again to the answer. Look, if the relative pronoun replaces a person, obviously I mean the name of a person, I mean it's not something physical, it's something like, conceptual, right? So, Ahmad, who leads a big business, is a wonderful man or something, whatever. So to replace the name of a person, there should be who or whom. In subjective case, it should be the relative pronoun who. In objective case, it should be whom. Obviously, we cannot use that or which to replace the name of a person. So I hope you got the answer, okay? Who in subjective case or whom in objective case. No matter whether it's spoken English or written English, okay? We use who for people. Yeah, that can be used, but if it's not the name of a person, if it's just a common name, this is the title, for example, the doctor, the teacher told me, okay, or for example, the boy, the girl, the gender, for example, the man, the woman. I hope you got the point.
Yeah, and Bial Haidari has added another comment, and he said that you mean the rule of proximity isn't well applied in example number 2.
Exactly, yeah. He answered his question.
Maybe he knows the question.
Wallahu a'lam.
And the answer. Okay, so I think the followers will also get tired. It's late at night, right now at 10. So
how do you know that? We have followers from all over the world. I mean,
surely. Yeah,
they may be in a country where it is not night now. Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So.
But I know that so far. In our live programs, most of our followers are from our own country, Afghanistan, and therefore we don't have electricity in Kabul city. Consequently, we don't have a lot of right now. I mean a lot of
internet connections are also done.
Wi-Fi
routers are all turned off. Yeah. So I think we're hitting the.
So have a great time. In the future, inshallah, we will decide. Our next topic for our live program could be either adverb class or noun class. If it's adverb class, first I'll be explaining the 7 types of adverb classes, and then I'll be answering your questions related to adverb classes. If it's noun class, first I'll be explaining all the functions of noun classes in different forms, and then I'll be answering your questions related to noun classes. Or it could be the types of sentences, for example, simple, compound, complex, or compound, complex sentences. So if you write your suggestions over here, I've already mentioned this several times, I'm gonna try to choose a topic for our next live program based on your suggestions, okay? So now, I mean, the followers, those who follow our live program, should make a decision which topic they want to choose. So of course I'll be counting those suggestions, and based on the highest number of suggestions, I'll be trying to provide presentation and get ready for answering questions related to a specific topic. So I hope that you will leave your comments in the comment section below in order to make your suggestions regarding the coming topic for our live program, which is going to be again, inshallah, 8 p.m. up to 10 p.m. And I hope that this time we will have electricity and everything will be fine. I don't know. I saw. Did you see the thumbnail? I mean, okay. So with the audience, we're gonna say bye bye. Have a great time, and inshallah.
Yes, dears, please. If you enjoyed and learned about the adjective clauses, share this video and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Practical English Brand. And we have one live session every week. And I once again want to thank our technical assistants, Mr. Hajizada, Azim Ayman, Mr. Nisarafat Qasmi, for helping us to just continue this live session until the end. So I want you to like this video, share it with your friends, and also subscribe to the Practical English Brand. And we will see you next week, inshallah. Have a good time. Bye-bye.
Did you stop it? Just stop it quickly, please.
Okay.
Just stop it.
Yeah, we don't want to be online anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're done.
We don't want